From sunny Cork. What's happening, Kev?
Oh yeah.
Are you fucking nearly blown away down there? Yeah.
Yeah. It is actually kind of bad, but it's good though because the heating in the house is like about 200 degrees. You know.
We were just talking briefly, Kev, and you said you wanted to do it from home anyway, like because you were like, "Era, we won't be doing." So you're down at your parents' gaff. Why your parents' house is always fucking roasting?
It's unreal. I actually have like a ginger beer here now. This tells you that I'm back home. It's actually called Ginger Beard.
I've heard of ginger beard. And is it alcoholic?
Yeah, it's 4.2. Like you wouldn't.
It wouldn't blow you.
Anything.
Yeah, it would knock your socks off.
It's made in I don't know where it's made in. I thought so. It's ginger beer. Do you ever drink ginger beer?
Do you know what? It's years and years since I drank it. You wouldn't drink too many of them, like, you know what I mean?
No.
It's the perfect beer that if somebody offered you a beer and you had when you get a really nice beer, you get an awful go for it. Like, you'd be like, fuck, I have to drive or I have to go do something. But getting handed a ginger beer, you'd be like, that's grand, just the one. That'll do. It's nearly like that pear cider shit when it came out. It was like, that's nice. It's nice.
I actually only heard that. I only understood that phrase, the goo, about 2 weeks ago.
Really?
I never knew it. Yeah, nobody says the goo in Cork.
No, it took me ages, like 5 years of living in Dublin before I understood what, and because I just always thought it sounded disgusting.
I was like, people were saying it to me for years. They were like, Jesus, I did goo last night. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, yeah, not about it. Yeah, I know what you mean. Do you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's the goo. It doesn't even make sense. Like the goo.
No, I'm amazed it's not actually origin in Cork, because Cork has loads of phrases that make no sense at all. Like, do you know what I mean?
That's true. That is true. But it's just the goo. Like someone said, they were like, geez, did you have the goo last night? I was like, no, I had a couple of pints. And they were like, so you had the goo. I was like, what do you have? And then they actually explained to me, because I was like, I didn't have the goo. I had a few pints. Like,
the more you say it, the more disgusting it sounds right now.
I was like, I didn't have the shits. I didn't get a kebab or anything afterwards. I was like, just had about 6-7 pints with a buddy. And they were like, you had the goo.
What's the equivalent, the normal equivalent? Like, you just got an awful hankering, I suppose. You know what I mean? Is that no? Because a hankering is prior to getting the thing. But if you get a taste of something, like an awful taste of more would be something, we'd say down south, really, isn't it? An awful taste of more off that thing, like.
Awful taste, like, geez, you had a good taste. Yeah, I was just so weird. I never heard the goo.
Yeah,
it's a real Dublin thing, though. Like, it's.
I'll never.
Like, I have parents that come collect their kids, and one day, one of the dads was picking up his kids, and he was like, Jesus, I'm dying. He was like, I got the goo last night. Like, and now that I think back of it, I'm like, that's hilarious. He was picking up his 4-year-old from preschool. He was basically telling me he was fucking half cut, like.
But you know what? You have, just to clarify for the listeners, Kev doesn't hang around outside. He's actually a preschool teacher. But you know what? You'd be the preschool teacher that you can imagine fellas would be honest with you. Do you know if there's a very straight lace, Mrs. Moriarty comes out and walks out your child or whatever, you're like, thanks very much, Mrs. Yeah, good luck. You'd never tell her that you were on the sauce last night. You know what I mean? Like, but Kev comes to game and go, oh, mate, what's the crack?
Yeah. You're just like, cool. Yeah, I actually, do you know what? It actually makes me respect them more, to be honest.
To be honest, being honest on it, yeah. And where is it in Dublin? Have you far to travel, like?
I do. I'm out the north side, so that's why the goo would have been a used word out there. Do you know?
Right. Yeah. Right.
I'm at the north side, like.
Yeah. Have you tried to implement your accent on any of the kids? That kind of way, because you have a strong Cork accent, like.
There is one kid that she has autism, and she was kind of learning to speak a couple of years ago. So then she would repeat phrases. So she kind of has a Cork accent.
a north sider with a Cork accent.
Yeah. So she kind of has a Cork accent a little bit at times, which is cool. But like the kids even say like they'll say like that they're from Ireland and I'm from Cork,
Yeah.
to their parents. Yeah, they don't understand that I live somewhere else, But like it's funny, I just realize a lot of things. Like I realized last week we were talking about maps, and like up till the age of about 8, you have no idea that you are even on the planet. I don't think. You know what I mean?
Kev,
Like
I don't think many people, because I would have studied maps and geography being a fucking civil engineer. And when I describe things to people and I hear them go, yeah, sure. Like, we travel. The one that kills me the most is people will say like you living in Dublin. And I wonder, is it a capital city kind of superiority complex? They'll go, yeah, we went down to Monaghan. I'm going, you fucking can't go down to Monaghan from here. It's fucking north of here. Like I went down to Belfast. You fucking didn't.
You didn't.
Hear people describing, like, especially from outside large cities, if somebody traveling from Leitrim to somebody in a large city, they were like, well, you clearly came from the moon, because that is the furthest I can consider. Even, no grasp whatsoever of distance, position on the world, nothing. And they just get on an airplane and end up in Torremolinos. And it's like, well, this is just a hot version of what I just left. Like they have no concept. And it's taken me years to kind of just understand, okay, it's not something that's important to people. We're fucking countries and things.
That's the thing. It actually, because I find like, I don't know, like I love looking at maps. I just think, like, you just look at another country and you're like, Jesus, and you're like that, and you're like, just all the stuff. Well, I mean, most people probably don't even, the last time they probably didn't even have an atlas in school. That was the one book that, like, because I remember when I went to primary school, you actually had to have an atlas book.
Yes,
yeah.
Do
you remember that?
But sure, I'm still such a freak. Like, I'll do things like I'll measure what's the area of the island of Ireland in comparison, and people constantly go on. I hear it a lot in conversation talk about how big the UK is. Ireland is only like, it's only time and a half the size of the size of Ireland. Like, so when you explain that to people, they're like, and also they've no grasp of maths and multiplication, to go, I don't know what that means. Is that a bigger field? Then I'm like, for the love of Jesus, no. But I do. I will actually Google square area of a country out of interest. Or do you know those ones that came up recently? They showed the true size of countries. Yes. We've been looking, like, Africa is like it's half of Europe. Like,
yeah, I know. It's humongous. Like, that's funny, because my missus, actually, we were out in Raheny in Dublin. Right?
Oh yeah.
And there was this like little vintage shop, and we went in, and she used to be an architect. She's not anymore. All right, so we went into the vintage store, and they were selling old maps. And I tell you, man, she found an old map of Cork, and she nearly fucking wet herself. Like, do you know what I mean? She bought it for like a tenner. It was just, the old maps, like, and it was funny. Like, you think I'm a stoner, like, the girl isn't really a stoner, but like, on the map, the area where the water was kind of green colored. She was like, oh, look at the color difference. And I was like, God. You fucking nerd.
I get it. I do get it.
I get it though. I was fascinated as well. I was like, cool, that's an original Cork map. From somebody surveyed that. Like,
when you think of how they surveyed back in the day. When they're a little off. They're a bit like a kid drew it, but at the same time you're going, they fucking walked that with no aerial view. They had no AutoCAD. They didn't have a fucking computer to relay it back to. They literally had a book and
they had this chain thing. Did you ever see that? They had this chain and they'd throw it.
we land surveying change. That's what we started with. We had to learn the principles of land surveying, was to use chains with markers on it as measurement. Like, so and you're just creating triangles because like if you have a strange shaped field, we'll say, and you want to measure the area of it, you can't, if it's an off square, you know what I mean? You can't measure it as you would normally, just two sides and multiplying by. So you actually have to use a series of triangles using ranging poles. And like when you're doing it at the beginning, you're going, this is fucking stupid around college. Can we not just get out the fucking electronic theodolite, upload what we measure to the fucking, you know, no. Yeah. But it's brilliant to actually, when you look back at the boys from, like, I get fascinated. I can't wait to go to Egypt. I want to go to Egypt in the next 2 years. Because that's where bios were at it. They were fucking at it back in the day, like with the, like how they created levels and stuff like that using water. We were going around licking our own fucking foreheads, like, and these lads were fucking building.
I know, yeah. Yeah, you ever read any of Graham Hancock's books? No?
Yeah.
yeah. But the water erosion, that's actually, it's a good thing. I've one brother. I don't know if you met my brother Brian.
I think I have.
He's like me, but with hair. He's mad as well. Like he's the same. But for his stag, we're not the type of now that there's none of this going to Liverpool getting locked.
Fuck that. Yeah.
Like you know me and the substances I've taken in my life. So for his stag, we're gonna go to Egypt, I think.
Nice.
I'd be booking it, but we'll go because like my dad's big into it. Was like, let's go somewhere. There's no point going to Liverpool and getting loo, lads. Do you know what I mean? Go somewhere like Egypt for 3 days and you all be gonna have a great time.
I'm serious. Like, have you watched on Netflix? Joanna Lumley has a 4-part series, which I fucking love Joanna Lumley anyway. She's one of those genuine fucking cool fuckers, like from back in the day. But she does a 4-part series on traveling down the Nile. It's unreal. It's unfucking real. Yeah. You'll have a couple of drinks, sit back and watch it. It's the perfect thing to either have a smoke or a drink with. You're like, because she's so chill. Do you know what I mean? Nothing's like, she puts you in a good place when you're watching it. Because you know, when you watch these presenters and like, and here we have the sarcophagus of, and you're like, oh Jesus. Where she's just this softly spoken, cool woman. Like,
that's good. We see, because those lads, they're trying to convince you of their opinion.
Yeah.
Do you know? That's what they're trying to do. And I don't like that. Do you know what I mean? That's what it bothers me. Because sometimes like when I was young, like Ancient Aliens, there was a little time period when I was smoking weed, I was believing them. Do you know?
Your man with the big hair, like, it's stuff.
And now he's still doing that show. Like he's like fucking, do you know what I mean? He's like the Simon Cowell of fucking.
Is he still on the fucking go?
He's still on the go, and his hair he's like, now when you look at it, you're like, stop, look at the makeup on him and everything. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't believe any of this shit.
Nah.
Fuck's sake. You know, but it was a good show though when I was young, like, you know.
But I think you're right in that people are trying to convince, they're trying to make the show about them, whereas Joanna Lumley is already, she's been there, done that shit. You know, it's like David Attenborough. Most of the time you won't even see him on camera, like he's just narrating. Do you know, because he's like, I'm an OG, I've done it all, you all know me, I don't have to prove fucking nothing, but look how cool this fucking iguana is. You know what I mean?
I know. It's the same. Morgan Freeman has the show about gods.
Oh yeah.
You're like, man, he's that. I believe kind of now.
Yeah.
Because you're like, Morgan Freeman is just like, go, listen, these things happen. I'm just going to tell you what I think about God. Make up your own mind, right? And you're like, Jesus Christ, Morgan. You know, it's his voice as well. Like they must have, like whoever was booking that was like, have you ever seen Bruce Almighty? You know, they were like, for the crack, will we get him to come in and do it? Do you know? But like, he is the perfect voice. You know, his perfect voice. Do you know who's a great man for a voice as well? Is what's his name? He's the Cork guy. He does his Atlas of Ireland. Did you ever see that?
No.
Oh, geez. John Creedon.
Oh yeah. He does. Yeah. Creedon does there's a nice sound to him, all right. I heard Cillian Murphy actually narrating something recently. I can't remember what it was, but he was very
did a
good.
BBC one, yeah. I saw him do a BBC one. Yeah, it was funny because there was a point, there was these like seagulls off the coast of like fucking, and he was going on about how they were going to die, but it was a real Cork tone, and it sounded, I was like, fuck, they're going to die, you know. He was like, it was just like real Cork dry tone, and like you're just like, no, there's no forgivingness in that voice.
No. He strikes me as a fella that likes to Cillian Murphy. While he comes across zero crack, he's going to turn out a serious fucking job. Like, if you're getting him in to do it, like he'd fucking do it you could walk away and leave Matt at, like, he's one of them fellas. Like,
yeah. Jeremy Irons has done a few as well. He's quite good at doing it.
But I watched one recently, and your man, he turns up in everything. He's a bald fella, but sometimes they stick hair on him. But he was in the first Kingsman. He had a Scottish accent. He was like the backup guy, like. But he was in.
Yeah. I know the guy you're on about. Yeah.
I can't remember his fucking name, but he's brilliant.
Yeah.
He narrated one in Romania, and it was all about the forests of Romania. Like, now I want to go to fucking Romania. I'm like, yeah. These forests and castles and bears and shit look class.
Yeah, that was on Netflix. I saw that as well. Yeah, I was like, "Fuck, Romania." There's like no offense to any of your Romanian listeners. I had a fucking total different idea. Do you know? I was like, "Whoa!" I didn't realize there was bears and beauty. You know what I mean?
That's the fucking thing. Like, when it's sold in such a shit way, like, because Romania has a bad rap, like, because one thing or another, but. Like, I've met Romanians, and they're like, they want nothing to do with that, and they're professional people. Like, you're going, no, we're nothing. But then I feel like such an asshole because when you've been to America a couple of times, and you'll get asked those fucking questions. Do you have running water? And you're like, get the fuck, one of the most progressive fucking educated countries in the world. Are you? But I'm doing the very fucking same thing to that poor Romanian person, like, by coming out with that shit.
Yeah. I know that's true. Yeah, you're like, wow, you have bears.
Do you think, because this is something that's, I think it's coming more and more to the fore, and it might be with the very definite visitation of aliens. I think that is definitely coming down the line. Do you think, because things like Prometheus and stuff fucking absolutely bend my brain inside out, like that? If you listen to Graham Hancock, as you were talking about 12,000 years ago, was during that young Astrias period that they reckon they hit the delete button, got fucking hit, and we're missing. We are millennia behind where we should be. Like,
I'm reading the book at the moment, right? It's by a guy called Ray Bradbury. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Sounds vaguely familiar.
He wrote a book called Fahrenheit 451, and he wrote it in all right. So he actually he finished most of his books because he lived in Youghal in Cork for a while. He wrote Moby Dick. He wrote the screenplay for Moby Dick.
Yes,
back in the 40s as well.
Yeah.
But he wrote this book. I bought it at Christmas. I'm still reading it because it's a bit like whoa. It's called The Martian Chronicles, and he wrote it in 1948. Now we haven't even been to the moon yet, right? No, there wasn't even a spaceship, like, you know what I mean? And he's going on about, like, by the year 2026, we're like living on Mars, and everyone's swiping screens. There's no
stop.
People have people have phones in their pockets, like these devices in their pockets, like that connect straight to your ears. Do you know? There's no, and I had to put it down a few times because I was like, it's only it's just a science fiction novel, but you're like, Jesus Christ, man, there's some lads out there that you're just like, whoa, how did you think of this shit?
Well, I mean, the argument on some of them, like, you know, Star Trek and stuff like that, is that basically tech nerds went, well, we have to fucking make this. So, do you know, like the touch screen on Star Trek back in the day, back in the 60s, that was the inspiration, and the sliding doors and stuff like that that opened when they walked through.
Yeah.
By all accounts, a lot of stuff was like, yeah, okay, we will. That's where we're going to aim for. That we want to aim for touch screeny things and not pressy buttons. You know.
Yeah.
So, but who know? Like, for your man to be that accurate to it, I don't know if all of his stuff, but that. Do you reckon he time traveled then, if that's the case? Or
he's a madman because the Fahrenheit 451 book is about how basically the government don't want books to exist anymore because written knowledge is knowledge that lasts over time. They kind of it's and the firemen in the book, their job is to go around and start fires. They burn books. I tell you, if there's ever a book to read, that is one book I would recommend.
Okay, I want to read that book. That's gonna be the only thing is that'll drive me fucking insane because my brain never switches off. So I can't I can't put down that book now and then walk away. Go.
But
no.
His thing was he never wanted to write novels. So all his books, he was a short story writer.
Right.
And actually, Playboy, Hugh Hefner was the one who produced them, like, because he was the one who gave him a chance. He was like, "Fuck it, we'll put your weird shit in our magazine." You know what I mean? And everyone else was like, "Nah, man, you're insane." You know, going on about burning Bibles and imagine in 1948 and the 60s and stuff. You know, it's just he wasn't fitting in. But all his books are only maximum 300 pages, so they're made for reading in 2 days, like, you know.
Okay. Because they do reckon, like, as Hancock reckoned that, like, the water erosion on the side of the Sphinx and stuff like that can only be done over vastly longer than what they're suggesting. The Sphinx was actually built like 15,000 plus.
Yeah, man, that's like, and as well the fact that they only leave Egyptologists do excavations around there. They don't leave any, like, that's a bit like, you know, come on now, lads. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, gives a look. Gives a fucking look.
Like, give us a look. They're like, no. There's nothing there. You don't need to have a look. Believe me now, right? Me and Omar are telling you, right? Things like that. I read The Fingerprints of the Gods. I just started doing stand-up. It was like 2012. I just started doing stand-up, and I moved to America, and I was living in a basement in New York, in a basement now, classic, like, but on a couch, like, and the window wouldn't even fully close. Like, it was just mental, and it was the winter, and I had got the best weed of my life, like, over there, and I was smoking, and I was reading Fingerprints of the Gods, and I genuinely thought the world was going to end. You know, have you ever read Fingerprints of the Gods?
No, I haven't.
The world was going to end.
It's one on a list, all right, that I'd love to read. Yeah.
Jesus, I thought the world was going to end. I actually was like sending emails to people saying goodbye to them.
I like the way you topped that story by going, "I got the best weed of my life," and then
that's what contributed to it as well. You know, I think like when you smoke weed and you read these things, you want them to be true.
Okay, right, yeah, okay.
Because your brain is like, of course you want it to be true because you're on a substance.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, and then if this is all true, then maybe you don't have to go to work tomorrow. You know, maybe you get to just chill out for the rest of your life because it's all bullshit. So like, you kind of want of course you want the aliens to come down, you know?
Few days, definitely a long weekend they'd give us anyway, for fuck's sake, if the aliens,
you know what
I mean?
If aliens came down, I'm hardly going in teaching 1+1 on Tuesday morning. You know what I mean? That, like, Montessori is cancelled, I would say. There's other pressing issues other than
the only thing is, it would mean there would be the one group of people that wouldn't give a fuck. You know what I mean? You know, they'd be the one group of people who go, "What? Yeah, well, where's Mr. Kevin? Because we need to fucking do some finger painting. It's Monday, and that's what's happening." Do you know what I mean? There'd be the one group of people in the entire world who wouldn't give a piss. They'd be like, "Yeah, so there's aliens. There's also dinosaurs. Fuck off." Like, you know.
Well, you nearly wonder, like, if it is inevitable, and it seems to be at this point, like, there's something anyway going to happen. But if like they were like, "Do you know what? Let's test out a little flu on them and see how they react to that before we bring in the aliens."
Yeah.
And we didn't react very well to
no, we pissed about. In the overall scheme of things, we absolutely, as a species, we shit the bed. We absolutely we've shit the bed so bad, just going like, we didn't handle it like adults at all. Like,
no, we didn't.
Like, fucking hell. It was, looking back now, it's like, oh my God, that was the biggest fanny move of all time. We were such knickerses, like,
I mean, there's no way a spaceship's landing next week anyway. Like, you know, there'll be war. Like, you know.
Well, maybe it'd be prime time to land a spaceship. God, these fuckers are just. We can just do whatever we want if we land.
Oh
on, like.
yeah, well if you wanted a bit of control, oh stop.
Swing in now, lads. They're primed for it right now. Yeah, it would seem, because of course we went through a period that, like, that's why neither I nor my wife, we could smoke weed, because especially she couldn't, because oh my God, like I show her you know, something like Close Encounters or something like that. And Jesus, for the fucking week, she's just coming at me with fucking hypothesis. And I'm going, oh, yeah. You couldn't smoke weed. We could not let you smoke weed, because this would be never ending loop of.
Oh, stop. Well, I don't do it. I don't anymore if I watch those things. Not a chance. I just don't, because I know my brain and I know what it does. I'd rather just take information in and have my own opinion rather than be totally lost in. I mean, there was a time, me and my brother, a couple of years ago, my brother came back from Amsterdam, and I was in bed, and I woke up and he was next to the bed, and he had a handful of mushrooms, and he was like, Kev, mushrooms? And I was like, all right, nice to see you back, Brian. Right? And, we ate the mushrooms, and we watched a couple of like space documentaries and all sorts of shit, and we actually tried to book flights to Egypt. Like, no joke, like, because we were like, we have to go see now, because while you're high, you don't think the trip is gonna, like, there's no concept of this is going to end.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah.
Oh, so like, we'll fly there right now and we'll solve it all. Do you know what I mean? And like,
where's my traveling hat? I need it. Yeah. My explorer's fucking gilet. I'll put it on right now.
Well, once we turned on the computer, I think we could. It took us a long time. We couldn't even spell Egypt. You know what I mean? We're just, and then our mother was in the kitchen, and we were talking away to her the whole day. She like, we had sunglasses, and now that we look back at it, like, our mother's a legend, right? Like, we had sunglasses on and everything, you know,
inside the house.
And we were just inside the house, inside the house.
She knew. She knew.
Oh, she knew, but she was, you know what? My mom is one of those ladies. She was delighted that we were in the kitchen chatting away to her.
But sure, in all fairness, do you need anything more? Like, you're not being belligerent. You're just being probably hyper enthusiastic about what she's doing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Oh, man, wow. So you just leave the tea stew for that. That makes sense, man. Nice.
She didn't mind. But I remember we were upstairs and we heard her dad's car pull in. We were like, we need to get the fuck out of the house. And we got out of the house. And I was driving a Ford Focus at the time. And we got into the Ford Focus, and we sat in the Ford Focus in the driveway. And after about an hour and a half, we were like, they haven't seen us leave. Like, we were still sitting here because we got out to the car and we were like, oh, that's good, we're safe out here now. And then we realized that, like, you know, they're going, what the fuck are the lads doing in the car? They're just sitting there. But I couldn't drive. I just couldn't get a grip of the steering wheel. Do you know, my brother was like, I just couldn't get a grip. It was too slippy. Like, there was something, I just couldn't get a grip. Couldn't get a grip of it at all. So we just went for a walk.
A
big old walk.
Can you quantify, like, what was the highest you've ever been, or is that quantifiable, or
no,
the strangest?
There was one time we were in a place, Corbiny Woods.
Oh yeah,
and we were very high, and this is not an exaggeration. I've never seen. I've got high a lot in my life, so I'm well aware of what's real and what's not real. You know, when I do things, like, I'm okay. Sure, you see me. I gig all the time. Like, most people, if they smoked what I have smoked before I gig, they'd be on the floor. You know what I mean? I'll just be myself. I'll be normal. I don't know what you're looking at. But
I noticed you're always in a very, very lovely mood when you're high.
Yeah.
You're always very loving. Like, you're like, hey. You know, there's a warmth to you.
Well, I think like I don't think you should ever be in a bad mood when you're about to do comedy because it's not a difficult thing.
Well,
I don't believe
it's the greatest privilege I think
I do,
you can
yeah,
be given. Like,
this kind of concept that it's difficult or a chore is I just think it's the most ridiculous thing in the world. You know, it's not difficult in many ways. Like you're having the crack. You know,
you're being
so I
asked to
just don't
do
know.
one of the most fun things of all time.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and you could get money. You're getting a bit of money for
Yeah.
it. Come on, like, you know, you. I just find it hard. Of course, anybody who's not in a lovely mood always strikes me. I'm like, Jesus, what's wrong with you? You know, just like
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, lads, you could go over there, get a pint, and you can have that and bring it up with you, even if you wanted to. Like, there's
drink
many...
on the job. Like, that's the amazing. He could literally drink on the job. Yeah, I sometimes I find. I mean, there's no licensing to get into comedy, but sometimes you're nearly thinking there should be to a degree because some people are in it for the fucking wrong reasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They're furious at something and they can make it work sometimes, but you're kind of going, you don't look like you're enjoying this at all, Tall.
No,
At all, Tall.
even all the worst gigs I've done, I look back and they're hilarious.
Oh yeah, well, you know yourself, a brute of a gig. Yes, there'll be a brief moment, like especially if you're by yourself and you're leaving it, you're like, what the
Oh, completely.
But then, like 15 minutes later, you're going, oh, wait, and I tell the boys about this one.
Yeah.
Like, oh my Jesus. Like, we'll get on to the horrendous one that we did together.
Well,
like,
but
finish the Corbinny Woods one, please.
I'll tell you, right? So we were maybe, I was probably like 20, maybe 20. My brother was 17. And across the way from Corbinny is where the naval base is.
Yeah.
Right. And we were in Corbinny. It was a great spot to go to look at the stars because around Corbinny there's no light pollution. So you're just looking straight up, and then you have Cork Harbour. So there's no light pollution there. So I mean, star-wise, it's just unbelievable. But genuinely, there was a hovercraft. I am not joking. Like I don't know if it was because we were so high. My brother saw it as well. It was just hovering. It was like this.
So not like the hovercrafts that you see the Navy SEALs using that skim across the water and then onto the beach. But this thing was actually a craft that was hovering.
Yeah, in the sky. This day.
Describe, please. Jesus, you're the first person in 216 or 17 episodes to actually have had an alien experience. So I need to know. Because it's one thing if you saw this shit in Arizona, you go, yeah, but that could easily be the Americans. They've an $8 trillion fucking budget.
Yeah.
The Irish government ain't making no fucking...
No, that's the thing. Me and Brian were like, is that a hovercraft? It was genuinely by the naval base. So we still are not sure if we just were super high and it was something quite ordinary that got distorted. But it was quite a clear night, like, and I'm not messing this thing.
How high up was it? Would you say?
I would say it was about maybe like 200 feet. It wasn't that high, 200 feet maybe.
Above the water or above the base?
Water, above the water.
And what shape was it?
It was like, it wasn't circular now or anything. It was kind of like a bit rectangular. And at the back it had like proper jet propulsion, like jets, like, you know? And we were like, whoa. And to this day, me and Brian don't know if it was because but I've got high so many times, I've never seen shit.
Regardless of what you took, the fact that the two of you could be put in a room, two separate rooms, and describe the same thing. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. We like, it was probably something with the Navy. I don't know what they were. It was probably just a regular ship of some sort, but that is the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Was there a noise coming from it? Like,
there was a little noise coming from it, yeah, a bit of humming, like, you know, and we were just like, what the fuck? And like, I didn't think it was aliens or anything. That was the one thing, like, but it was just weird. We were in that phase as well. We were watching loads of stuff with Area 51, and you know, so there's a lot of things where just like, I don't know, we could have easily been influenced now by anything, but like, I drove home, so I wasn't like, and I didn't hit anything, like, you know what I mean? So, I mean,
did you fuck off before it did, or did it just fizzle out, or what?
No, it fucked off. Yeah, it fucked off. It wasn't there for that long. We were just like, is that it? that jetpack? we were just we were lying on the ground looking up the stars, like, and I just saw this thing. We were like, Jesus Christ, you know. And I've never seen anything like that. And when I've taken many things, I've never seen something like that anyway.
You know, it's a thing that people don't do enough, and I know it's because it's so fucking easy to do, is to look at the stars, because that's the big thing that I know. That struck me and my wife even when we moved back down to Tipperary, because you're not going to see anything in a city or an urban area, like, you know, you're just not going to see anything. Like, but here you look up and it's like something out of a fucking movie. You're like, it's like high definition stars in every fucking direction. And the other night I was taking the bins out of all the mundane fucking things, but for a good, I'd say 7-8 minutes, just kind of leaned against the wall, just looking up, going, "Holy sweet mother of fucking Jesus, they're everywhere."
Yeah, they're everywhere, and they're there all the time.
The thing is, I don't remember as a child. I remember stars, but I don't remember so fucking many of them. You know, like, I don't remember the entire sky being absolutely full to the fucking gills with them. Like,
I know, I don't either. I just think like when I was young, I'd look up and I used to always get a sense of like loneliness or something.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Fucking hell, you know what I mean? And I think sometimes is it easier to just be a total moron, because when you're aware, like sometimes when you do look up and you just go, "Jazz," it's like you're just like, "This me. My fucking life is useless. What's going on?" You know, like,
when you do start breaking it down, it does depress me. All right, I nearly get a fucking ulcer when you start breaking it down. Go, oh my God, we're doing this. Like, thank God we at least have a creative outlet that doesn't make real sense. But you're looking around going, like, what sense does it make to be a solicitor even? Do you know what I mean? Or an accountant or a fucking anything. When you look up and go, "Oh, we're just floating around inside in all these fucking stars."
Like, it's because people go, "Jesus, you do comedy? Christ, that's like," you go, "Well, when you in the grand scheme of things, it's the most sensible job actually to be doing."
Yeah, it actually is.
In many ways, you know, why would you be doing hard labor for no reason at all? In the end, like, we don't have to do. You can actually sit in a stool if you wanted to. You know.
Literally, I'm sitting here sipping tea, drinking to my mate Kev for my podcast. Do you know what I mean? This ain't work, man. But I know I ran into a guy the last time I was down in Cork. It was a couple of weeks back. I ran into a guy on the street, and he was kind of I worked with him years ago, and he was an engineer as well. We worked out in Eastgate in Little Island, building it out there, and he was kind of half furious with me. He knew what I dropped everything, like, and went off and did comedy, like, and he was kind of half, like, I'd nearly taken the piss out of what we were doing for a living back then, like, you know. And he was like, but he was like, he'd aged like 50 years, the poor bastard. Look, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was weird to see. He was like, "What the fuck are you nearly doing that for?" I was like, "Well, it makes way more sense to me than fucking being furious all day."
Yeah, it makes way more. Like, people would say to me, it's not like, wait, like, because I do 2 jobs. I don't know why, but I love doing 2 jobs. I just like, I don't want to. I seem like a person who would love just being lazy because I smoke weed.
That's a misdiagnosis, the wrong word, but a misinterpretation by people. If they met you for the first time, you go, fucking kid, and you're going, no, you don't know what you're dealing with there. That fella's fucking clued in sharper than the fucking rest of you. Like, it's a good thing he's fucking doing weed, because if he wasn't, he'd be a fucking politician or something. We need to slow that cunt down, like, because he's way too fucking...
I actually did government. I did politics.
Did you? I knew it.
I did politics. Yeah. I couldn't deal with the lying, though. You know.
Well, and that's the thing, is it's like you go in there with the best intentions, and then all of a sudden you get your collar pulled, and be like, nah, son, that's not how it works around here. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Like, at least with stand up is like doing politics, but truthfully.
Well, you definitely.
That's why no one
definitely know you have no opposition at the time, and you've nobody to oppose you. You know what I mean? In your views.
Yeah, in your views, and then only some woke people. And if you want, you can just be like, "Shut up." You know what I mean? You don't have to retract your statement. You know, you could just say, "Shut the fuck up."
The last time somebody had a go at me, it was in Galway at the Galway Comedy Festival, and there was one woke person in the audience. So it's not like I'm overly fucking right wing or something. I was just doing comedy, which all the other 99% of the people in the room got the silliness of what was going on. I walked on stage with a fucking pair of Pit Viper fucking sunglasses. Like,
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, you remember, like,
I was watching down the back. I thought.
Oh yeah.
You left them on for the whole gig as well.
I did, yeah. But I mean,
like you were there with a, like, if you think about it, like from my perspective, I was down the back, right? You were up there in like kind of, let's say, combat kind of pants. You're wearing like a fucking a Hawaiian shirt. You had a mullet. If people weren't at the gig now, this is the perspective I'm looking at Tom at. Handlebar mustache. I basically like pair of glasses from fucking a 1970s or 80s, like Steven Seagal movie. Like they were badass. Like, and she was sitting there trying to make you feel like I was like, is she not even looking at what she's talking to?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're trying to talk to a cartoon. Like, it's what are you? And it was like when everybody else, and what was beautiful was everybody else in the room got it. You know what I mean? They got where, and she's just piping up. And even all her, like, there was a row, like 4 or 5 friends with her, and they were all looking down the row going, shut the fuck up. Yeah. This is why we don't fucking want to bring you anywhere. You're a fucking dose. And you're not realizing every time your man slaps you verbally, you're not realizing everybody's loving every time you like
loving it.
You know, so that is one of the few conflicts you'll ever come across. And I was loving it because I was like, I'm gonna have to shut you the fuck, because they were on my side. Everybody was on my side. Like,
yeah, it was hilarious. She was there. Like, I mean, the funny thing is, she was sitting there with a ridiculous hat on.
Yeah.
But you looked normal.
Yeah, exactly.
If you put it that way, because she was trying to be cool.
Yeah, she fell very short. There's a reason why I was on stage with a microphone. She wasn't. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, it takes a long time to make it fucking look funny and cool. You're just a dickhead, you know?
Oh, like, that's the thing. Like, I mean, I love when someone says something to me, kind of. You know, I don't. It depends if you were trying to get out material and, you know, thing. But actually, I love when someone kind of talks to me, because then, you know, you get to do your material every time you gig. Yeah. Sometimes it's great when there's someone who just goes, you're like, oh, thank you.
Well, I mean, especially the constructive stuff, you know what I mean? Sometimes people, in the most golden moments, there are some things you can't even fucking double down on. You can't even double on, like, because I remember doing a gig in Strabane years ago, and this fella, it was in a nightclub, like, and this poor old devil, he was steaming drunk. And I always feel for somebody who's steaming more than, you know, and he wasn't being disruptive in any way, but he was like, just about holding it together, the poor fucker, like. And he went to sneak off to go to the toilet. He was sitting on a small bar stool, the low ones. And as he kind of crouched down and went off to the right, his foot got caught in the stool, and he fell, and his foot just whipped like a fucking whip. It just threw the stool up into the air, like fucking 5 or 6 feet, and came straight down on his cock. And I mean, there was nothing. Like, everybody froze looking at it, and I was mid-sentence, and thankfully at the time I had enough stage maturity to realize nothing I'm going to say for the next minute is going to be funnier than what we just witnessed. Yeah. So I better acknowledge this. And literally, Patrice O'Neill, like, pretty much dropped the mic and just nodded at this moment as this poor fucker crawled off, and he made that like that sound as well.
Yeah.
And there was no getting better than that moment. It was like, well, I'm so glad we were all here to see that moment. Like,
yeah, those are perfect. I know there's nothing. There was one time I was it's funny, my brother always thinks it was magic. I was on stage, and there was, remember in the Inter back in the day, like, there was a speaker on the stage that would be connected to a phone.
Yeah.
All right. So
high technology, like, yeah,
high technology, like, and Aidan was out of the building. He was away, right? He was like down the road or something like that.
I gotta get a coffee, man. I gotta get a coffee.
Yeah, somewhere, like, he was off gone somewhere like that. Do you know what I mean? Getting a coffee. And I was on stage, and my brother was there, and we were on acid, and
You're on stage on acid. Okay.
yeah. And this, I was only hosting the place. This is like my third weekend hosting the place. No, fuck's sake. But I went boom, and I pointed at the speaker, right? I flicked my finger and boom, pointed at the speaker, and the music came on.
No.
Yeah, and the whole place was like, what the fuck?
What came on, and what had you said? Or what was
someone had kind of said something to me, and I then was like, nah, and I went, oh, and it came on. But what happened was Aidan had came back into the building. We found out afterwards. Me and Brian thought I was magic. Like, and the whole audience thought I was magic as well for a second. But actually what happened was Aidan came back in and was coming back up the stairs, and it just connected to us. His phone, and music came on. That's all that happened. But for a moment, everyone, like, my brother was like, man, no, that you did that. You made that happen. Yeah. I was like, I don't know. But for that one moment, the whole room was just like, whoa, you know? I was like, no matter what I said after that, there was nothing kind of funnier, because it was just like, here, what's going on with that, lads? Do you know?
Yeah. And you see, that's where the love of comedy comes in. Like, even if somebody gave you the opportunity to recreate that again, you wouldn't do it, because you're like, well, this is. I was only talking the other day to somebody, and it was about a guy. He doesn't do comedy anymore. But he used to do this bit where, and in the middle of it, he would make a mistake by switching two words around. Now, I saw it the first time, and it killed. The first time I saw it, I went, oh, that was funny the way. And he kind of, he oversold it a small bit, like, but it was like, okay. But then I saw him do it like 4 more times, exactly that mistake. And it wasn't a well curated fucking bit or anything. It was like genuinely tried to make it look like he fucked 2 words back to front accidentally, and then went, oh, and kind of, I can't believe I just did that kind of it, and it killed all 3 times. I'm like, oh no. I get you obviously do material on the reg that's the same, because it's your stuff, but don't put in don't do that. Yeah, that's now you're faking magic now in the middle of what is already a magic thing that's happening, that you get to fucking make people laugh for a living. Like, don't do that. That's
don't
fucking
do that. It was funny. It was 2 weeks ago. I finished a gig, and then Joe Dowling got on to me, and he was like, Kev, there's 10 minutes. I was in town, and he was like, I just need something to do 10 minutes. And I was like, finish a gig. I was like, fuck it, I'll call over and do 10
bullshit
minutes.
or something, was it?
Bullshit, yeah. No, it was the hay.
Right, yeah.
I called over, and the place was jammered because there was all these TEFL students in.
Right.
And I was like, fuck, I was just thinking, I had already done a gig, and I was on the way, about to go home. And now I was like, bollocks. I was looking forward to just coming in and trying something. And I was like, we're going to have to do material for 10 minutes. I was like, ugh. So anyway, I wasn't feeling it before I was going up. I was like, bollocks now, like, I have to go up there and tell jokes again. I know, like, but sometimes.
Yes, I get you. Yeah.
You're like, I just did that. I should have went home. So he was bringing me up on the stage, and as I was walking up, there was this little vape thing. Now, I genuinely, right, and it was wiener colored. It looked like a little sausage. And it had no writing on it or anything. It was literally the shape of like a hot dog fucking wiener, like. And I just picked it up off the floor. I saw it. I was like, how's anyone seen that? And I picked it up off the floor. So it was on next to the stage, like right next to the microphone. You know what I mean? And I picked it up, and I just showed everyone in the room. And I was like, did someone lose a sausage? And then for 10 minutes, I just got to talk about the sausage. And I was offering people a suck off a sausage, right? And then I gave it to someone anyway. At the end of it, I just gave it. And anyway, at the end, people came up to me, right? And they were like, did you write that? Did you? I was like,
it was a prop.
No. Yeah, it was a prop. I was like, why would I fucking bring a sausage?
And plant it on the ground first, before I go up there. Yeah.
I could call into the halfpenny at 8:00 and put a sausage on the stage, And the guy who I gave the vape thing to, it turned out to be a vape thing. He came and gave it to me. He was like, here, you can have your prop back. And I was like, no, man. Like, they believe, like, I was like, whoa, they actually.
That's the magic of it all, like.
That's the magic of it all. And I was like, can you imagine that now? Like, that they were like, are you never going to do that bit again? I was like, no, it wasn't a bit.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
a fucking sausage on the floor. And I took advantage of the fact that there was something that looked like a sausage on the floor. And there was Germans in the room. And I was like, yeah. I was like, this isn't something I said at home. Going, fuck me now, what will I do tomorrow night? Like,
I guess that's sometimes where the vicious crossroads of, are you fucking really commercial in what you do? You know what I mean? Like a really commercial comic would go, that's staying in. I'm going to have to get myself one of those things. Maybe not to that extent, but it would fucking kill me. It's like, no,
kill me.
It would kill me. It's like, no, this is not, no, this is where, that's not where the fuck I'm at. But I've seen, commercial fucking comics will do that fucking thing. You're like, but that, and they'll go on and they'll make fucking, but you're like, what? But at the same time, you're coming away going, what are you? Are you genuinely funny? Or, where's the fucking love in doing that?
Oh,
like, you know what I mean?
Like down Lidl, just buying all the fucking wieners, like.
Or, at your carrot shop, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Fucking freaking out at the airport, like my fucking luggage bag of wieners didn't get through, like.
we did a gig together. You booked me for a gig. Well, no, was it you to book? No, wasn't you? Was it you to book me?
Oh Jesus, it wasn't me at all. No.
Who was it that booked that? Was it Mark Doheny or somebody? No.
Okay, so there was I did one there years ago.
So this is Trabolgan for anybody, which is a holiday village / kind of Irish version of Pontins, I suppose. Butlin. Yeah.
An Irish version of. I don't even know.
Oh my God.
I think it's just an Irish. It's no version of anything.
No, it's not. It's really not. Because like,
there shouldn't even be holiday destinations within like a holiday village in Ireland. Just is already wrong. We don't do it right. We do foreign holidays right, and we do going to like West Cork and to we do renting houses right and going away. But
we do castles good. We do castles pretty good.
Yeah, we don't do holiday villages. We don't do holiday villages. Oh my God, it was Mark Donoghue.
It was, yeah. And they were trying to. So to give people perspective, you were already there. I landed in because I'd been filming it on a thing all day in Cork. So I shouldn't have taken either, like one or the other. And
you picked me up.
Yes, I picked you up, and man, I was fucking wrecked. So when you're afraid, and sometimes that's the most beautiful time to do comedy because you can just kind of sit on a stool and just you have at that stage you've nothing left. You're like, I've no nerves left. I've no nothing. So let's just have a good fucking time. And if the audience are on board, then it can be a beautiful thing. But we landed in. No, I dropped you home. I didn't pick you up because I know I was lost when I got out there.
No, I stayed there. I stayed down there.
Did I pick you up?
You picked me up.
I dropped you off and you knew where you were going. I remember that because I got lost and I ended up inside this kind of leisure plexi place of hell where like parents were there and there was a lot of fucking, I'm not making judgments on who or what backgrounds these people had, but my God, it was fucking rough. There was people having a couple of drinks and there was kids just going ape shit at basketball machines. And this is like 9:30 at night. These kids should have been in bed. It was just, and there was music play. It was just horrendous. And I was like, please don't let it be here. And you called me across this fucking courtyard to this bar area that was just, it had the soul of a fucking cowshed. Like it was, there was a boxing match on the telly. I'm like, looking around at the people that were there with neck tattoos and stuff. I'm going, nobody here wants to hear us fucking say anything.
Not a chance. They were down for a darts tournament. And they decided we'll book some comedians to entertain all these darts players who probably were drinking since 11 that morning. Like,
some lads can only play darts when they're drinking. Yeah.
And the kids were even in the pub. There was no. The thing that I always found the funniest about that is the gig was meant to start at 9:30.
Yeah.
And we actually started at 12 o'clock at night because they wanted to wait till after the Anthony Joshua fight And they were like, oh, we didn't realize.
Which went the full 12 rounds, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, what? The fight started at 10. How did you not think? Like they were like, oh, and I was like, you're meant to be entertainment, like managers and stuff. This is the most, and we had to wait till after the fight went finished.
That's the ironic thing is these people are supposed to be event managers, and it was possibly one of the worst put together things and time
I've ever seen.
There was no proper staging area. It was just this. And I remember going up and I was broken at that stage because I'd seen the hell they'd given you. Not even hell. It was just like fucking talking loudly amongst themselves, like, and stuff. Oh. And then a bunch of the staff came in who looked like these. They all got fired from whatever cruise ship they were on previously. Like they weren't, you know, some of them looked like they were on the run. Some of them definitely had been in prison. And I remember just cracking inside my head going, fucking shut the fuck up. I'm going to fucking do this and ram this down your fucking neck. I'll do 15 minutes of fast talking and just get the fuck out of here because this is not. And I remember the guy afterwards, the guy who'd booked it or whatever, was like, hey, no, I think that went well. I think that went well. And I'm looking at him going, what the fuck went well about that? Yeah, I think we should book more in venues that we have around the country. I'm like, no, don't you ever book anything ever again. Get a job with the civil service, or because you are not meant for this business. You know?
It's the same thing as well. We'll get you back. I was like, please don't ever have me back. Like the funny thing is though, if that's the place to bring a sausage, that's really the gig now that would have been the gig. That is the gig
to bring all the hacky take me wife, please material. That is what who left the sausage on stage? You know, that is the place to bring. Yeah. I bet your wife likes the sausage. Yes.
I bet she's never seen one this big. All the lads elbowing each other. He's very funny. Like Jesus, he was brilliant. You know?
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
I can imagine like at the end just signing sausages and giving them out to people. Like, you know what I mean?
And that would be you forever. You'd be known as, like, do you know fucking what's his name? He became the Hot Pockets guy. What's his name? Hot Pockets. Oh, why can't I fucking think of his name? He's got an Irish surname. But
Gaffigan.
Yeah, that'd be you. You'd be Kevin Sausages O'Sullivan. Saucy O'Sullivan does it again.
Saucy O'Sullivan. There'd be people with sausages on the mantelpiece, like
sponsored by Clonakilty, like or Flynn's.
Oh, it'd be definitely Clonakilty, man. Yeah, it'd have to be. Yeah. Oh fuck. I did, and the funny thing was, that was the second gig I had done in Trabolgan years ago. Before that, they actually tried to book one. They booked one, and they did. And me and Cornelius went down, and there was about four people at that. About four people.
Lovely.
And that was horrible, but I could be careful what you wish for, because you know what we said that night when we did the one where there was four people. We said, I wonder what it'd be like if it was full. Great. And then I got asked to come down the next time, and they said it was going to be full, which, to be fair, it was full. It was full. They didn't lie about that, you know? And they did pay, but my Jesus, you know, I myself and Patser Murray did a festival. We were booked to do a festival in Tipperary.
Right.
In the old Greyhound track.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, do you know? All right. And there was meant to be a couple of hundred people at it. We were getting good money. And we were meant to do a half hour each. So we were meant to fill an hour slot. And we were meant to be in this comedy tent. So we got down there. There was no one there. Apparently, they told us, at the same time, in another area of Tipperary, there was the Pumpkin Festival happening, which is hugely popular, and everyone was at that, so they weren't at this festival. The comedy tent was a gazebo, right? It was a gazebo, and do you know that thing in comedy where you're like, if you do the time, you'll get paid?
Yeah.
you know, I mean, Pats were like, we're going to have to do the time. And if we do the hour, we'll get paid. And Patser kind of said to me, he said, why don't we just both go sit on the stage together and do an hour together instead of you doing a half hour on your own, me doing a half hour on my own. We'll both sit on the stage for an hour and we just fucking talk shit at people. And we were sitting in this gazebo and basically nobody was in the gazebo. We just sat, we were like, right, it's our time to start. Went into the gazebo and about 100 meters away, there was like picnic tables. And there was this woman at a picnic table locked, and she sent her kids in to watch us, and she was heckling us from the picnic table.
Like 100 meters away, she must be fucking sending fucking the kids in with the heckles, doesn't she?
She was like, fuck that shit. She was shouting at us. Like, we were like, what is going on over there? We were like, girl, hey, we're like, shut the fuck up. It was like 2 in the day.
And the thing is, like, you get gigs like that, but thankfully at least you'd Pats or with you or whatever, and the two you were long enough in the tooth to know that it was shite and you were going to plow on. Like, but you know yourself early doors. You'd wonder why you'd stick with comedy sometimes when you can. I remember it just dawned on me just there. It was with Con as well, and I think there might have been a couple of us, and we were on a fucking trailer in Fermoy, man, and we were all so excited because it was ahead of part of some festival that goes on there, and Pat Short was on. But sure, Pat was going to come on and do songs or whatever, you know what I mean, and do his old characters and stuff. Which we all, like, technically it felt, we're supporting. I'm supporting Pat Short. That's what I'm doing right now. Because I was doing comedy about a week, I'd say. But sure, I mean, it was the worst fucking gig of my life, if you think about it. Like, it was just kids running at the trailer shouting, where's Pat? You know what I mean? Like singing Jumbo Breakfast Roll at you, like, and you're trying to tell your couple old jokes, like, they're going, oh, for the love of Jesus. Like,
that happened to me at a Farm Fest.
That's what I was going to get to. How I sidestepped. We talked about it the other night when we met down in Cork.
Jeez,
it came up, and thank fuck I sidestepped that.
Fucking Farm Fest. I had to go on after Rory stories, and that's all they were there to see.
Of course, yeah.
Do you know, which I was doing comedy maybe about 3 years at this point, so I already knew it was going to be a shit show, and I was going to have a hard time. So I got up on stage, and the minute I got up on stage, literally everyone left. There was probably about 150 people there, and they all just started leaving. Now, if you had feelings to be hurt, Jesus, man, you'd be fucking, you know. I was actually like, I was like just standing there, and there was maybe about 12 people left in the room, and there was one lady, she was ossified, and she started slow clapping above her head.
Like the Icelandic Viking clap.
Yeah. Started slow clapping. And she started this song. She went, there is a moose. And everyone went, there is a moose. You ever hear that song?
No.
I don't know.
But you were on stage looking at this.
Right? And then she got up. And she got up on stage and took the microphone off me.
Oh, fuck.
I let her take the microphone because I just let her. I had to do 20 minutes to close the show. I was like, fucking, I hadn't even said a word, Tom. And I let her take the microphone, and she started singing songs. And they had, on the stage, they had a bucket of cans with ice in it. So I just started drinking cans. And because we were kind of semi-outside, I just took my pipe out and puffed it away. Darren gave me a light. Said, like, you know, you have a minute left. So I took the mic off her, and I said, and she sat down, and I said, all right, thanks everybody. See ya. It's like, fucking don't ever tell me that I didn't do my time, you know, because I was like, nah, I did my 20 minutes, pay me.
Oh, fuck.
We went, I had a backpack with me. And I filled my backpack with cans. I was like, fuck these people now. There's no chance I'm ever coming back to Farm Fest. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And it would have been a lovely gig if everyone was there just to see, like, the Ultimate Farmer, which of course they were. Why wouldn't you be?
Why wasn't Rory Stories left to fucking close it? Like, because that's what you know what I mean?
He had to go somewhere, or they should have just put him on his own show.
Yeah.
Because that's what they were all, you know, they should just let him do his own show. I don't know why they were like, we'll put him on with a stoner. And do you know what I mean? Farm farmers love a fella like me, like, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. As they sit there in the GA jerseys, like just loving it, like going,
Yeah.
yeah. I love when he talks about weed. I really can relate. Yeah, I can really relate. Yeah, yeah. It's trips to Amsterdam.
You know, yeah, hire that guy, you know, like he'll be going on about fucking aliens and stuff. You know, it's like, oh, but that's the beauty though. Like those things though, like I look back at that with fondness.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah.
There was a lady like decided out of nowhere to start singing about mooses. Like you never get that experience in life. And she came up and, you know,
it's almost unrelatable to try. Like I've tried when people have asked me questions like that, you know, when we'll call them non-comedians or lay people, and they'll ask you, you know, what's a rough gig, you know, gives us, you know, and there's almost no point in telling them because they're only getting the top 2% of what you're saying. Because the other 98% of what's going on, only another comic who's been in that very same scenario will get what you're saying because it's so fucking bizarre. I remember I was hosting one night it was in the Halfpenny, and I was after doing the gig already, and it was a fucking awful long line. I don't know, it could have been the Battle or something like that. I was hosting it, and there were a rowdy old fucking crowd, but a great rowdiness. You know what I mean? There was energy in the room, like, and there was a lot of brand new comedians on. They were fucking nervous. And you know, when you turn into kind of almost parental, you know, there's almost a parental vibe. Like, I'm going to look after these kids. And there was this one weapon. She was sitting in the front row, this old fucking Wizendow yoke, and she thought she was a gas bitch, like, and she kept on piping up, like giving all of them, you know, there was a young, a girl, she was maybe 21 up first, and she was just giving her dogs abuse. And I had to put her down a few times, like, and then this group that was kind of egging her on, like, suggested that she get up on stage and take the mic, like, you know. And Johan makes a move to get up on fucking stage. I went, woman, you sit the fuck back down. Do you know how much effort it takes to get fucking? You think this is the fucking X Factor? I'm just gonna hand you the mic and you're gonna fucking rip it a new one. Yeah. Get to the back of the fucking queue like everybody else here tonight had to fucking ask for this gig 6 months ago. Yeah. Get the fuck out before I throw you out through the fucking window, you old witch. She honestly, she was violent. Like, she was gonna fucking make a go for me even before that a few times. She was a scumbag. Like, but it just infuriated. How dare you? How fucking dare you treat this with fucking any disregard, like, whatsoever? It's fucking one of the coolest things in the world. You're just gonna be a dickhead about it, like.
Yeah.
You know,
the Halfpenny. That's a place that I've had some interesting ones. There was one. Conor McDonough was over in Edinburgh.
Conor,
buddy. He was in Edinburgh, and I was looking after the place. So I was just in Temple Bar holding the sign, handing out flyers, and there was a senior member of the traveling community had died. So there was a lot of travelers had come back from England.
Yeah.
There was a lot around. Now, I was just handing out flyers, and these three boys, and I just gave them a flyer, and they were like, "Can we go in?" And I kind of was like, "You won't be able to." And I knew the bar would have to. I knew they wouldn't get in once the bar saw them. But they got in downstairs, and the bar served them a pint. One of the barmen did. So then they were in. They were in, and they came upstairs, and they were like, I was like, "Lads," Sean, the barman, said to me, "You have to tell them to leave." I was like, "Fucking hell, man!" So I was like, I don't mind doing things like that, you know. So it is what it is. And I said to them, "Lads, I'm sorry, you're chatting to people." They were going up chatting to everyone. They were like, "Hey, where are you from?" and all this stuff. And I said, "Lads, you're disturbing people." I had my out. I thought I had my out. I was like, "Look, lads, you're obviously after a few after disturbing people. The bars asked me to ask you, could you leave, if that's all right?" Yeah. Like, we're not disturbing anyone. We're not disturbing anyone. We'll stop disturbing people. And they were like, I was like, "Fuck." And then they were like, "Sure, we have money." And then they have money. Do you know what I mean? They whipped out money. I was like, "Fuck me, all right, look, a tenner each. Do you know, what can I do here?" Now, Trace was on the bar. She had a good old control of them.
Yeah.
They were like, "Sorry, misses and stuff. Sorry, madam," and everything. But I told Kevin Kildee and Ronan Grace, I was like, "Listen, lads, this is what it is up there now tonight. You know, we're doing a gig to a certain part of society." And fuck me, man, they were just heckling and like, but it was I had they they wanted to come up and show magic tricks and everything.
Oh,
They were
fuck.
at one point they wanted me. They were like, "Can you get a €2 coin up your nostril?" And because they want you to put a €2 coin up your nostril, and then they'll punch you into the nose.
Lovely.
And then that breaks. I was like, glad I heard no. I was like, sit there. So we got through the gig, thank fuck. And downstairs, I remember I went downstairs and I was like, Jason, I'm having a beer after this one tonight.
Yeah.
And I went downstairs and there was an American, that bar gets a lot of Americans, and there was an American sitting there and he had a broken leg and he was talking to the barman. And, you know, he was just talking about typical American, but like, look, any one of us, if we have a broken leg and you're out having a drink, you're going to be talking about how you broke your leg. And the bigger of the three lads went up to him and started showing him photos. He said, "You think that's a broken leg?" And he started showing him photos of broken legs. I'm not joking. I'm not joking.
Who has an album of broken legs in their phone?
He had a few like people that he'd hit with a hammer, like in the leg, you know. And he had the American's face, and he had a nice color going on. Jesus,
I bet he had.
He was as white as a ghost after that. Oh my God, it was hilarious. But like, Joe, to this day, I'd be always have to say that, like, you know, I had that experience.
Yeah.
You won't get that. You won't get that in an office experience because they won't get through security. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You won't get that somewhere like in Amazon or Apple or something like that. But in a comedy club, yeah, you'll get that, you know.
Fuck, I think maybe the fucking aliens have already arrived. Have they, Kev?
Probably have.
Here we put the world fairly to right. Tell me this: where's the best place? Are you online much?
Not really. I'm on. Look, Tom, this is my first time going on Zoom. Like, so.
Yeah. That's adorable that we popped your Zoom chair.
Yeah. You're my first. I was like, Jesus, is that his bedroom? I was like, look at the teddy bear, never turned up on the wall. And I was like, oh no, that's his office. I was like, fuck it, your wife didn't get much say, like, you know what I mean?
It's quite Tom back there. All right, yeah.
It's good though. No, I mean, I suppose Instagram, but I wouldn't really.
Yeah.
I'd be, you know, but I mean, I would post gigs that I would do up there, but I'm hosting the Riff Raff every Wednesday now.
Oh, in the Chelsea drugstore.
Yeah.
Brilliant. It's a great gig, great spot.
Yeah. It's good. Do you know what? It's good to have an MC residency because, like, I was jealous of you the last day in Cork. Do you know the freedom of it being an MC?
Oh yes, yeah.
Oh, it's lovely.
It's lovely,
It's lovely. Like, so to be able to do that now once a week, again. That's going to be great because that's the way to come up with anything, you know. So,
I love it. For writing new stuff, it's the only way to do it, really, or just do your set purely of crowd work, which I kind of think is a bit. It can be sometimes disrespectful to the MC when they've already done a ton of crowd work. You're like,
I think so.
You know, because I can imagine MC down the back of the room going, "Fuck, man, I'm sure I've laid it all out for you." Like, you know what I mean? If they've done crowd work, like
that's like that night I watched everything you said and I was like, I'm not going to say any of those things. That's what you should do, like, you know. And then you'll have the crack, you know. But yeah, I'll be there. That's where I'll be, man. Beautiful stuff. Well, Kevin O'Sullivan, this has been fucking beautiful. Yeah, it's been good crack. Yeah. Thanks a million. Ray Bradbury, right? Ray Bradbury. I'm getting all over that. Ray Bradbury, all right? Ray Bradbury. That's the man to be reading. Read some of his stuff and you'll fucking, yeah. I'm going to wreck your fucking head the next time I see you. So. we'll set up a little book club. That could be the new fucking form of podcast where people just listen into the lads discussing a book. Yeah, I know, odd book, like, you know. We both get fucking stoned and talk about it and see what happens. Anyway, dude. Thanks a million. Thanks for having me on, buddy. Right? Cheers, man.